This is Dr. Pat Luce with the 7 Systems Plan Daily Dozen. I'm going to give you a dozen things that I'd like you to do every day. We'll talk about what to eat and how to use your food journal in this section. First thing I want to show you is how you choose the number of calories you will eat per day. If you turn to this section in your book, you'll see that there are 4 different categories that you can choose from. 1,000 calories, 1,300, 1,600, or 1,900. Now for most females, I start them at 1,300 calories, and males 1,600 to 1,900 calories, depending upon how active they are. So you'll have to make that determination, and this can always be changed as you go along. On the left-hand side, you will see 10 food groups, and we're going to run through those food groups individually, so I won't spend time on that right now. But you will pick the number of calories you're going to consume, and then you will see how many from each food group you get. In your book, there is a food journal that looks like this, and on our website, we have a journal that looks like this. And it's important that you fill this out and be accurate. We want you to put in the date and how many hours you slept, what you eat in the morning, what you eat midday, the food and calories for each thing, your evening meal, and then we will total the number of calories that you have consumed for the day, and you want to try to stay real close to the category that you picked. You'll record the ounces of water. It's very important that you drink water, the type of exercise you do, and if nothing else, just give me some walking to get started. The next thing is the categories of food, and as you go through the day, you're going to mark off that you ate the number of servings from that category. And ideally, at the end of the day, you have marked off each of those and the correct number of those. At the bottom, I want you to put down the stress reduction technique that you do and also how you felt for the day. Our emphasis in the 7 Systems Plan is eating real food. So here's some groceries I picked up one day. First thing on your food list is the concentrated proteins. You'll see that there are serving sizes at the top for each category, and then I've listed the different foods that fit in that category. We want to move to using more vegetable proteins and less animal proteins as a general rule, but some good animal protein choices are available. The next category is the legumes, and most people are puzzled by this group, but it is your beans. Any kind of beans, lentils, bean soup, hummus, split pea. For me, hummus is a real easy one. I always keep a container of hummus in my refrigerator. It's a very easy way to get this food group in, and they are also very tasty if you just dip your vegetables in them. Dairy or dairy alternatives is the next group, and you'll see that is optional. Butter is allowed in limited amounts. Some saturated fats are good for you. Too much is not. Buttermilk, yogurt. Now you got to be very careful with the yogurt. I don't want you using yogurt that has sugar added. And then there's some milk alternatives as well. I highly recommend that you move away from milk and use almond milk or soy milk, but always get the unsweetened versions, no sugar added. Nuts and seeds are the next food group. Lots of different options for that, and I want to encourage you to mix it up. Don't have the same nuts every day. Nut butters are allowed. As you'll see, peanut butter is my least favorite, and almond butter would be a much better choice. But if you do have to use peanut butter, use the refrigerated one with no sugar added. Get a variety, mix it up. Have several different kinds of nuts and seeds and try them all. Vegetables, low glycemic vegetables. This means low sugar vegetables. We've got lots of choices for that. The cruciferous, extremely important for liver function and detox. The greens, very, very high in nutrients. Kale would be the highest of all. Lettuces, mushrooms, lots of other vegetables to pick from. Try some that you haven't had before. Mix it up, and you'll start enjoying them as you go along. Salsa is allowed as long as there's no sugar in it. Use it liberally. And then don't forget the sprouts. They are extremely high in nutrients. Load up on lots of vegetables. Keep your refrigerator full. Vegetables, medium glycemic index. So these have a little higher sugar content, so they do have to be limited. The low glycemic vegetables do not. You can basically have as much as you want. I want at least 4 servings of low glycemic index vegetables. 8 would be preferable. The medium, we've got to limit that to 1 or 2. But there are some really good choices in this section as well, so take your pick and use the ones that you enjoy. Again, do not have the same thing all the time if you can help it. Squash, sweet potatoes, very good choice for this category. Fruits. For most people, getting fruit in is not a problem. There are lots of different choices. We've got berries. Don't forget your berries. They're extremely good for you. Other fruits, apples, kiwi, cherries, mangoes, oranges, lots of good healthy choices in this group. Grains. Grains are restricted somewhat on the 7-system plan, but there are some that are allowed. I would really like you to move away from the traditional wheat and rice and use more amaranth, teff, quinoa, and things along that line. If you do like popcorn, 2 cups are allowed for a serving, and sometimes we like a little crunch, so the crackers, if they're small and multigrain and you can limit the number, they are fine as well. Oils, do not forget your oil serving. This will limit your progress if you're skipping your oils. So make sure you get these in one way or the other. My first choice would be to have you eat the product that oils come from, like avocados or olives. Those are extremely good sources of oil and very good for you. Second choice would be consuming the oils made from those things. And make sure you consume only the healthy oils. Medical foods are the next group that I would like to talk to you about. And I don't want you to neglect using a medical food on the 7 Systems plan. They will speed up your progress tremendously, and I'll talk more about this in a coming video. There are several different kinds of medical foods, and the specific problems that you are trying to target, the system that you're trying to target, will help you determine which medical food you should be using. I'm going to just briefly show you one study. In this study, they had a group of women who had metabolic syndrome, that's pre-diabetes, and they were either placed on a good diet food plan or a good diet food plan with the Ultrameal Plus 360, one of the medical products, medical foods that we use. The results of the study were amazing. Yes, having a good diet made significant progress in every category. But when you compare that to the group that added the medical food, it was a night and day difference. Significantly more progress in absolutely every single category when you use the medical food. Now, I like medical foods because it makes you able to stay in your calorie limit very easily. They are inexpensive. They cost about the same as a meal would cost you. They provide a high quality protein, and they make sure that you don't lose muscle mass as you're following the 7 Systems plan. About 50% more patients in this study that were using the Ultrameal no longer met the criteria for metabolic syndrome compared to those who were just using diet alone. Pick a medical food and use it. The next thing I want to talk about is the vitamins that I encourage you to take every day. The Phytomulti, very good overall vitamin and mineral supplement. It is loaded with good micronutrients and also has lots of phytonutrients that help your body. 1 per day would be helpful. D3 with K2 is the second vitamin that I recommend, and the dose for this supplement would be 1 to 3 per week. Don't take more than 3 per week without having a blood test, and ideally you've had your vitamin D level checked so you need to know where your numbers are at. Omega-3, the EPA DHA 720, at least 2 per day. I've got a lot of patients that take 5 a day. This is the oil that helps build cell membranes, and helps your arteries, helps your brain. Very important nutrient. Daily dozen exercise. Just start with 30 minutes of walking per day, and then use the guidelines in the book to progress from that. Make sure you are drinking enough water, at least 8 glasses per day. Make sure it's good water. Do not drink chlorinated water or bottled water. Coffee's fine, just don't drink too much. Herbal teas and mineral water. You have to control stress. You got to do some kind of stress reduction technique every day. There are several good ones in the book. Pick one and make sure you're doing it regularly. So let me summarize by giving you 4 things I want you to do to get started on the 7 systems plan. Number 1, most important, eat real food. Find a way to get good and comfortable with eating real food regularly. Number 2, I want you to try to get food from each group in daily, in ideally the correct number of servings. Number 3, be accurate with your food journal. I want you to measure, I want you to weigh, I want you to record absolutely everything that goes into your mouth. It will make a difference. This is 50% of your program right now, being accurate with that journal. And number 4, do the daily dozen each day. Try to hit each of these steps. Thank you for listening. This has been Dr. Pat.